It's not by chance that you're viewing this video. There's a reason you're here. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust the timing of your life and know that you're being led to where you're meant to be. As you stumble on this video, perhaps not by chance, it will serve to awaken your spirit. There are no accidents, nor are there coincidences within the grand design of existence. This moment, precisely now, is perfect. For the veil is being lifted, and you are being revealed in the fullness of your true light. You have been divinely guided to this very point, for there is something sacred and powerful within you, waiting patiently to be awakened, activated, and fully unleashed. The time of your revelation has arrived. Have you ever sat in solitude, only to feel a profound stirring deep within your soul? An inexplicable resonance, as though something ancient and eternal is beginning to awaken from within? There is a deep and abiding sense that your life is part of a story far greater than what the world perceives on the surface. This is not a figment of your imagination. It is a spiritual echo, a resonance from an ancient memory, a sacred alignment unfolding in perfect time. Your journey reflects not only the heroic paths found in ancient myths, but even more profoundly, it mirrors the sacred journeys of those whom God called and set apart throughout biblical history. The same divine fire that blazed within the bush before Moses now burns within your own soul. The very whisper from heaven that summoned Abraham to leave his homeland and step into the unknown is now calling out to you as well. You have not been marked for comfort or ease, but for greatness, for purpose, and for a destiny that transcends the ordinary. In this message, we will journey together through 7 pivotal chapters of your divine narrative, illuminating how your modern path reflects the ancient footsteps of warriors, prophets, kings, and those uniquely chosen by the hand of destiny. But before we venture deeper into this sacred exploration, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, because this message is meant for every soul who has been set apart and is now ready to fully embrace their divine calling. And if the words you are hearing stir something deep within you, if they awaken a resonance you cannot ignore, then respond by dropping the number 77 in the comments. Understand, this is not merely a number. It is a powerful signal to the universe, a sacred declaration that you are aligned with your divine purpose and prepared to step boldly into the fullness of who you were always destined to become. Only those who are truly chosen will stay until the end. By doing so, you will gain deeper wisdom, grow in spiritual awareness, and receive blessings that have been hidden just for you. Remember, this knowledge is revealed step by step. Come back to this message whenever you feel drawn to it, because each time you return, you may find something new, something important that you missed before. Your awakening is happening more and more as you choose to embrace it. Chapter 1. The Call to Adventure. When God interrupts your normal. In every great story, the hero starts with a normal life. Then something happens. This is the call to adventure, but it is not just luck or chance. It is a message from God. In the Bible, this call often comes when the person is not ready or expecting it. Think about Moses. He was a simple shepherd taking care of sheep. He was not looking for a big purpose. He was just living a quiet life. Then God appeared in a burning bush. This moment changed everything. God did not call Moses as a strong leader. He called him as a man who felt weak and unsure. But even with fear and doubt, still Moses said, yes. He answered the call. Or think about Esther. She lived in a palace with comfort and riches, but her life changed when she had to risk everything to save her people. God gave her a special task. Even though she was afraid, she chose to be brave and said, yes. Now think of David. He was a young shepherd. He wrote songs and watched his father's sheep. He never thought he would fight a giant or become the future king of Israel. His calling came when he was just doing small, simple things. In old myths and stories, heroes are often called by fate or the gods. But in the Bible, it is God who steps in. He interrupts a person's normal life. His call is personal, close, and always a surprise. You have also received a call. Maybe it came through pain, loneliness, or a strong feeling that you are made for more than your current life. This call did not happen by accident. It was not luck. God has chosen you for this journey. Like Abraham, who had to leave his home, family, and everything he knew, You are being asked to leave your comfort zone and step into the unknown. In Genesis 12:1, God says, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you." When Abraham received this divine call, he was not given a detailed plan or a clear map of what lay ahead. Rather, he was invited into a journey of trust, stepping into the unknown with only the promise of God's guidance. In the same way, you too are being called, not necessarily with full understanding of your final destination or the specific path your life will take, but with the assurance that the call itself is real and purposeful. Like Moses at the burning bush, Esther in the palace, and David in the pasture, you are being summoned into something greater than yourself. Though the road ahead may be unclear and the steps uncertain, your journey has already begun, and the invitation to walk in faith has been extended to you. Chapter 2, The Resistance, the inner war before the outer battle. After you say yes to the call, a struggle begins. This is the resistance. Everyone who is called by God goes through this inner fight. In many old stories and in the Bible, the hero does not only face battles on the outside, they also fight battles inside themselves. Moses told God, "I am not a good speaker." He was not just afraid of Pharaoh, he was also afraid of his own weakness. He did not feel good enough. He wondered, can I really free the Israelites? Can I lead a whole nation? His fear and doubt were like enemies standing in the way of his purpose. Gideon also felt unfit for the job. He said, "My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family." Judges 6:15. He believed he was too small and unimportant to be part of God's big plan. Jonah also resisted God's call. Instead of going to Nineveh, he ran the other way. But Jonah wasn't just running from a place, he was running from the responsibility and the hard message God wanted him to share. In ancient myths, heroes are often portrayed as reluctant to accept their calling, held back by fear of the unknown or by deep doubts about their own worth. And this same pattern is found throughout Scripture. The truth is, every divine calling is accompanied by fear. Not only fear of what lies ahead, but also fear of one's own potential, of stepping fully into the strength and purpose God has placed within. This is why resistance is so common. It is not merely about the external challenges that may arise, but about the inner struggles each person must face, the fears, doubts, and insecurities that whisper, "You are not enough." There will be moments when you, like Jonah, are tempted to run in the opposite direction, believing that the weight of the task is too great or that someone else might be better suited for the job. Yet God does not call those who are perfect. He calls those who are willing. When God spoke to Jeremiah, he responded to the prophet's fear with a firm command. Do not say, "I am too young." You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Jeremiah 1:7. God was not searching for flawless ability. He was seeking faithful obedience. You do not need to have all the answers, nor do you need to be flawless or fully prepared. What is required of you is not perfection, but surrender. The resistance you feel is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of the weight and importance of your calling, one that will demand growth, courage, and deep trust in the God who called you. Yet the very presence of resistance is also a powerful sign that you were chosen for this path, that your spirit has been uniquely formed and strengthened to carry the weight of the calling placed upon you. The heaviness you feel is not a burden meant to break you. Rather, it is the pressure through which your strength is being formed, a shaping force that, with God's help, will prepare you to rise and meet every challenge ahead. It is essential to remember that God does not demand perfection. He simply calls you to trust Him, to take the next step forward even when you feel weak, unsure, or unqualified. Moses hesitated, overwhelmed by his lack of eloquence. Gideon questioned his worth, seeing himself as the least among his people. Jonah ran, fearful of the responsibility laid before him. And yet each of them discovered the strength and courage they needed, not through their own power, but through surrender to God's greater plan. In the same way, you too will find your strength, not by having all the answers, but by saying yes to the one who does. Chapter 3, The Divine Mentor, When Heaven Sends Help. In every great story and Bible account, the hero rarely travels alone. The journey is often hard, full of danger and problems. That's why help from above is so important. A mentor, guide, or messenger usually shows up at the right time to help the hero. In old myths, heroes like King Arthur had Merlin, and Odysseus was helped by Athena. These helpers were not just normal people. They were powerful beings who helped the hero find the right way through trouble. In Scripture, the presence of divine mentorship is both clear and consistent, revealing that God never intends for his chosen ones to walk the journey alone. Naomi served as a wise guide to Ruth, leading her through the uncertainties of a foreign land and pointing her toward a future marked by hope and redemption. Elijah, in preparing to depart, passed his prophetic mantle on to Elisha, equipping him to continue the sacred work of speaking on behalf of God. Even Moses, the great leader of Israel, received practical and necessary counsel from his father-in-law Jethro, who offered him guidance on how to manage and lead the people effectively. And most profoundly, even Jesus, the Savior of the world, was preceded by John the Baptist, who prepared the way and laid the foundation for his divine mission. Just as in these powerful examples, God remains faithful to send what and who you need at exactly the right time. These divine mentors may take many forms. Sometimes they appear as physical people, a friend, a leader, or an unexpected acquaintance, who speak truth or offer wisdom at the precise moment it is needed. At other times, the guidance comes more subtly, through a dream that delivers sudden insight, a vision received in quiet prayer, or a wordless impression that stirs your spirit during a moment of stillness. There will be moments when someone seemingly ordinary crosses your path, yet God uses them in extraordinary ways to speak directly to your heart, offering guidance, reassurance, or direction that you didn't know you needed, but that came right on time. Hebrews 13:2 offers a powerful reminder of the sacred importance of hospitality. Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by so doing some have entertained angels without knowing it. This verse highlights a profound truth. Your divine mentor may not appear in the form you expect, and they may not remain in your life for long, yet they will always carry something essential, a key designed to unlock the next phase of your journey. Divine mentors are not sent to carry you through your calling, but to awaken something within you. Something perhaps dormant, unrecognized, or buried beneath fear or uncertainty. They may speak a single word, offer a small nudge, or cast a vision that suddenly illuminates a calling you had not fully understood. Often, they arrive during moments of doubt, fear, or transition, times when direction feels unclear and the road ahead uncertain. For this reason, it is vital to remain spiritually alert and open-hearted. For the person who holds the insight or encouragement that activates your next level may appear in the most unexpected way. The seemingly minor encounter, the casual conversation, or the passing comment could be divine in nature, carrying with it the spark that ignites a deeper awareness of your purpose. To embrace your divine mentor, you must cultivate attentiveness and humility, refusing to overlook the subtle ways in which God works. Do not dismiss those quiet moments of insight or those ordinary people who, in truth, may be delivering pieces of the puzzle you've been seeking. For in ways both seen and unseen, God is constantly orchestrating encounters and aligning paths to bring you from where you are to where you're called to be. Chapter 4. The Wilderness, the sacred place of transformation. Before one can enter the palace and walk fully in the purpose for which they were created, they must first pass through the wilderness. This wilderness represents more than a physical or geographical location. It symbolizes a sacred and often solitary space of inner transformation. It is a season marked by pruning, refinement, and testing, a time when distractions are stripped away and the soul is laid bare. Throughout biblical and mythological narratives, the pattern remains consistent. The hero is inevitably called to journey through a wilderness experience. This journey, though often difficult and isolating, serves a divine purpose. It becomes the crucible in which character is forged, where endurance is cultivated, and where clarity of vision and identity is refined. The wilderness is not a punishment. Rather, it is a sacred process, a necessary passage that prepares one to carry the weight of destiny and fulfill the calling placed upon their life. Consider, for instance, the story of Jesus, who spent 40 days and 40 nights fasting in the wilderness, a period marked not only by physical deprivation, but also by intense spiritual confrontation. During this time, he was tempted by the devil, and separated from every worldly comfort. Yet, this experience was far more than a physical ordeal. It served as a profound spiritual initiation, a divine preparation that equipped him for the immense mission that lay ahead. Similarly, David, before ascending to the throne and being crowned king, endured a prolonged season of hardship and uncertainty. He spent years fleeing for his life, hiding in caves, and living under constant threat from King Saul. Rejected and isolated, David's wilderness was a time of deep formation that shaped his character and strengthened his trust in God. Joseph's journey followed a comparable pattern. Betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, unjustly imprisoned, and separated from his homeland and family, he experienced profound suffering and abandonment. Yet, his time in the wilderness functioned as a crucible, a refining fire through which he was prepared for the extraordinary position of authority he would eventually hold in Egypt. In each of these examples, the wilderness was not merely a backdrop for suffering, but a sacred, transformative space that shaped these individuals for the fulfillment of their divine purpose. Even the Israelites, chosen by God as his covenant people, were not exempt from the wilderness experience. They wandered in the desert for 40 years, undergoing a prolonged period of testing and refinement under God's watchful eye. During this time, they were taught obedience, humility, and dependence on divine provision, lessons that were essential before they could enter the promised land, the inheritance prepared for them. In much the same way, you may presently find yourself walking through your own wilderness season. You may feel isolated, abandoned, or even forgotten, as though the path ahead is unclear and the journey unbearably long. Yet it is crucial to understand that the wilderness is not a form of punishment, rather, it is an initiation, a sacred and intentional process of transformation. It is in the wilderness that God begins to strip away everything that is not essential to your calling and destiny. Pride, fear, and the remnants of a former identity are slowly but purposefully removed, making room for the emergence of your truest self, the version of you that is fully aligned with your divine purpose. The wilderness, therefore, is not a place of defeat, but a sacred ground upon which your character is forged and your future is prepared. As stated in Deuteronomy 8 verse 2, the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness to humble you and test you in order to know what was in your heart. This verse reveals a profound truth. The wilderness is not a detour or a delay, but a divinely ordained season of preparation and purification. It is a sacred space of deep introspection and inner reckoning, where every thought, motive, and desire that is misaligned with your divine purpose is exposed and gradually consumed in the refining fire of isolation. In this season, God is not absent, but intimately present, working to shape your character, to strengthen your faith, and to refine your sense of identity. The wilderness becomes a divine workshop in which the soul is sculpted, not through comfort, but through challenge. Just as ancient heroes in mythological narratives descended into the underworld to face darkness, danger, and uncertainty, you too are called to confront your own inner shadows. However, unlike the mythical underworld, your wilderness is not a realm of hopelessness. It is your secret place, a holy ground where the noise of the world is silenced and your true self is forged through fire. Here, stripped of distractions and false securities, you are brought face to face with the internal battles that define your growth. It is in the wilderness that courage is cultivated, identity is clarified, and the foundations of your destiny are laid. Who are you truly when no one is watching? Who do you become when the structures of your life begin to collapse and everything familiar seems to unravel? The wilderness demands that you face these questions with honesty and courage. It invites you to confront your deepest fears, to expose long-hidden insecurities, and to release the grip of past wounds that no longer serve your purpose. Above all, it calls you to surrender to the mysterious rhythm of God's timing, even when it seems delayed or unclear. This sacred season is where the crushing takes place, a spiritual process symbolized by the pressing of olives to extract oil, the intense heat required to refine gold, and the breaking of a clay vessel so that its true beauty can be revealed. Each image points to a deeper truth, that purpose is preceded by pressure, and glory is shaped through suffering. It is in this crucible of transformation that your soul is prepared to carry the weight of your divine calling. Every trial, every tear, and every moment of silence in the wilderness is part of God's meticulous preparation, fashioning within you the strength, wisdom, and resilience required for the destiny you were born to fulfill. If you find yourself in the wilderness in this present moment, do not give in to despair. Though it may feel barren and unrelenting, it is precisely within this sacred and hidden place that true warriors are forged. The wilderness is not a sign of divine neglect, but a place of divine intention, a spiritual forge where your identity is not only tested, but ultimately solidified. It is here, in the silence and solitude, that your intimacy with God deepens, your dependence on Him grows, and the strength of your inner spirit is cultivated with precision and purpose. Hold fast, for the wilderness is not the end of your story, it is the very beginning of your transformation. You are not being abandoned, you are being prepared. Every trial, every unanswered question, and every moment of stillness serves as part of a greater divine design. The wilderness is sacred because it is the womb of emergence, the place where you will arise stronger in character, wiser in discernment, and more deeply aligned with the divine calling upon your life. So when the path ahead appears long and uncertain, and when your circumstances feel isolating or overwhelming, remind yourself of this unshakable truth. God is at work in your wilderness. He is not distant. He is actively refining your heart, preparing your hands, and shaping your soul into the hero He always intended you to become. Chapter 5. The trials, the enemies that reveal your strength. In every great story, every myth, and every sacred text, the hero must face trials, whether in the form of monsters, giants, injustice, or betrayal. These trials are not merely obstacles, they are crucibles through which the hero's true strength is revealed. Such battles are not only external, but also deeply internal, fought in the realm of the spirit, identity, and purpose. They serve to refine the chosen one, molding and preparing them for the divine assignment they are destined to fulfill. The Bible offers some of the most profound and symbolic examples of these trials. David, for instance, stood before the terrifying giant Goliath with nothing but a sling and a stone. Yet through that moment of great testing, his courage, faith, and divine calling were revealed. But in that moment, David's true weapon was not the sling in his hand, but his unshakable faith in God, demonstrating that divine strength is made perfect in human weakness. Esther, too, confronted the very real threat of death as she boldly chose to stand for her people and speak truth to power. It was her courage to embrace her divine purpose that ultimately saved an entire nation. Daniel, though cast into a den of lions, remained steadfast in his trust in God. His unwavering faith became his shield, and he emerged untouched, his life serving as a radiant testimony of divine protection and favor. Paul, beaten, imprisoned, and relentlessly persecuted, did not allow confinement to silence his purpose. In fact, from the confines of a jail cell, he penned some of the most profound and enduring teachings of the early Christian church, strengthening and inspiring generations through his letters. And then there is Jesus, who faced the ultimate trial, the cross. His suffering was not limited to physical agony, but encompassed the immense burden of bearing the sins of the entire world. He endured mockery, abandonment, and a brutal crucifixion. Yet it was through that very trial that the greatest victory in history was achieved, the redemption of humanity. Trials, therefore, are not evidence that God has forsaken you. On the contrary, they are often confirmation that you are walking in divine purpose. When you step into the role of the chosen one, trials are not optional. They are inevitable. The enemy may rise against you through sickness, temptation, persecution, or betrayal. But these trials are not designed to destroy you. They are divinely permitted to reveal the strength within you. God allows the refining fire not to consume, but to cleanse, to burn away all that is not of Him, so that the pure gold of your calling may emerge, radiant and unshakable. James 1:2 declares, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. What you are facing in this very moment is not without purpose. It is preparation for the very future you once prayed for. The challenges before you are not random or accidental. They are divine appointments, strategically placed on your path to shape, strengthen, and elevate you. The opposition you are encountering is not a sign of failure, but rather confirmation that you carry something sacred, powerful, and divine within you. Heaven does not anoint what will not be tested. You are being refined for greatness. The enemy may believe he can defeat you, but every wound he inflicts is destined to become a weapon in your hands. Every betrayal you endure is not the end. It is the beginning of breakthrough, unlocking blessings that were divinely appointed to follow. Your strength is not solely measured by your moments of triumph, but by your ability to overcome. It is in your resilience, in your perseverance through hardship, that the fullness of your true power is made known. Just as the greatest heroes of legend rose victorious over their fiercest foes, so too are your trials nothing more than stepping stones, designed to lead you toward your greater calling. Do not fear the battle. For every trial you encounter, God is using it to sharpen your character, to elevate your spirit, and to prepare you for the destiny He uniquely crafted for you. Chapter 6. The Revelation. When heaven reveals who you truly are. There comes a profound moment in the journey of every chosen one, a sacred unveiling when the veil is lifted and for the first time, they see themselves through the eyes of the divine. This is the moment of revelation, a transformative encounter where chosen one comes to truly understand their identity, not as the world has defined them, but as God has always seen them. It is in this moment that the truth emerges, the realization that you are not the sum of the labels the world has placed upon you, nor the version of yourself you thought you had to become in order to be accepted or to survive. Instead, you are the authentic, divinely crafted being that God anointed, appointed, and sent into this world with purpose. Throughout life, the world may have tried to define you with names like weak, failure, too much, or not enough. These are false identities, labels that carry no weight in the kingdom of heaven. In God's eyes, they do not define you, they never have. The revelation reveals your true essence, a reflection of divine intention, powerfully made and deeply known by your Creator. This is the you that has always existed in the heart of God. God sees you not through the lens of your past, your mistakes, or your fears, but through the truth of who you truly are. Royalty, a beloved child of the Most High, endowed with a divine inheritance that cannot be revoked. You are not defined by your failures, your struggles, or the limitations others have placed upon you. Instead, you are a new creation, renewed, redeemed, and empowered by grace, fully equipped and divinely positioned to walk boldly in the purpose for which you were created. In Romans 8:19, the Apostle Paul declares, "The whole creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed." This powerful truth affirms that the earth, the heavens, and all of creation are collectively longing for the unveiling of your true identity in Christ. You are not here by accident, nor are you a product of mere coincidence. Rather, you have been intentionally chosen, appointed, and positioned for such a time as this. Your revelation, your awakening to who you truly are in the eyes of God, is not only a personal transformation, but a pivotal moment in the unfolding of God's divine plan. Even creation itself anticipates this moment, knowing that the manifestation of your God-given identity will contribute to the fulfillment of heaven's eternal purpose on earth. This moment of revelation marks a divine shift, a sacred turning point where you move beyond merely surviving and begin to thrive in the fullness of your calling. It is the moment when doubt gives way to boldness and hesitation is replaced by holy confidence. No longer do you shrink back in fear or uncertainty. Instead, you step forward with authority, fully aware that you are not simply navigating life, you are walking in divine destiny. Your voice begins to carry a new weight, not because of worldly influence, but because your soul has been refined in the fire of purpose. You now walk as one who has been granted dominion, one who does not merely respond to circumstances but commands alignment with the will of God. You are no longer passive in your existence. You are activated, awakened, and aligned with a higher calling. This is your moment of activation, the unveiling of your anointing, when you come to realize that everything you need to fulfill your purpose has already been placed within you. You carry divine wisdom, spiritual insight, and a grace that will draw others to the light of God within you. Every trial you endured, every wound you bore, and every experience you overcame has been woven together to produce the unique authority with which you now speak and lead. Your voice has weight because it is rooted in truth, not merely your own truth, but the eternal truth of God's kingdom that dwells within you. And it is that truth, spoken through a vessel refined by fire and chosen by heaven, that changes atmospheres and fulfills divine purpose. Sometimes this realization takes time, but when it happens, everything changes. You understand that the person you've been looking for, the one who can change the world, has always been you. The world may have tried to bury you, but God planted you like a seed. Now you are growing. This moment is not just about seeing your potential, it's about starting your purpose. You are not meant to hide. The moment you realize your worth is when you begin to become who you were always meant to be. When the veil is lifted, you will see yourself the way God sees you, and you will see the world in a new way. You will understand that your battles had a purpose. Your hardships were not punishments, but preparation for this moment. This revelation is the start of your strength, where you stand tall and walk confidently in your true identity. Chapter 7, The Return. When you come back with power, everything has changed. In every great story, the hero returns to where they began, but they are not the same. The return is more than physical, it is spiritual. The hero carries the signs of growth. The timid become bold, the wounded become healers, the exiled become chosen. In the Bible, the return is not just a symbol, it is sacred. Joseph returned, not with bitterness, but with forgiveness. The same brothers who sold Joseph into slavery bowed before him. But he did not seek revenge, he chose to restore. What was meant for harm, God used for good. Moses returned to Egypt not as a fugitive, but as God's messenger. He came with signs, wonders, purpose in his voice, and heaven's authority on his shoulders. Jesus returned from the grave. The stone was rolled away not to free him, but to show that death was defeated. He came back with power, holding the keys to life and death, declaring victory over darkness. Now it's your turn. You are not who you were. You are who you've become. This is not a return to the past, but a step into authority. You're not going back to fit in. You're going to lead. You're not asking for a seat. You're building a new table. You are walking into places that once rejected you, but now you bring light. Where there was silence, your voice will speak truth. Where there was shame, you will show dignity. Where you were overlooked, you will now be seen as chosen. Matthew 5:14 says, "You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden." You were never made to blend in. You were made to stand out. After the wilderness, the waiting, and the hidden preparation, you return with power. Your scars are now sacred. They are not weakness. They are proof you survived. Each wound holds wisdom. Your voice is not just sound. It's a trumpet in the spirit. When you speak, chains break, hearts change, and strongholds fall. Your presence is powerful. Just being there shifts the atmosphere because heaven is with you. You carry more than a story. You carry a calling. You are wrapped in purpose, grace, and authority. You are proof that the return is real. Go back, not to relive the past, but to shape the future. Not for revenge, but for redemption. Go back not as the broken you, but as the healed and chosen one God raised for this moment. Your return is divine. This time, everything will be different. And if you're still hungry for more chapters to this journey, or a visual concept for a video or thumbnail, just say the word. I'm here and ready to help bring it all to life. Thanks for watching. Here ends this video. Take a moment to like, share, and subscribe if you find this video interesting.